Okay, what is up guys, and welcome to the 14th video in this series. In this video we're just going to do some cleanup on our code, and we're also going to do a few animations. So we're going to animate our hero falling backwards, and we're also going to animate the labels. So to start, let's just do some cleanup here. I said this in the last video, but we never actually got to it. In our game scene class file right here, we just want to separate all of these different additions into different methods, and that's just going to keep our code clean. So let's just do that right now. So I'm going to say func add moving ground, and I'm just going to move all this down here. And it's going to start giving us some errors, and the reason it's going to do that is we need to the view of our game scene is actually an optional, so all we need to do is we just need to add an exclamation mark there, and that's going to fix all of those errors. I'll do it in this function right here really fast, but for the rest, I'll just do them all at once. So I'm going to say func add hero, func add cloud generator, func add wall generator, func add tap to start label, and func add physics world. And it may seem kind of, some of you might think it's kind of weird that I'm making that function when there's only going to be one line of code for this physics world. The reason I do that is just to remain consistent and to keep the code clean. So that's just the reason I'm doing it. Usually it's better to, even if you have one line of code, to actually designate what it's doing, just to make code more readable, things like that. So let's just quickly copy all this stuff down. Cloud generator, wall generator, tap to start label, and the physics world. And now it's going to give us all these errors. We just need to go through and add exclamation marks to the views here. Two more, looks like. Okay, sweet. And last but not least, we actually need to make sure we have all these methods within our init function. So add moving ground, add hero, add cloud generator, add wall generator, add tap to start label, add physics world. Okay, so that's way, and I'm just going to take out this was from the optional background code that we did, since I'm not going to be using that anymore. So this looks way cleaner in our did move to view method. So awesome. That's all I want to do for cleanup, and now we can actually move on to some animations here. So to start, we're going to animate our hero falling backwards when he actually hits that wall. So let's go into our ML hero class. Hopefully this audio wasn't totally screwy. I just realized I didn't have my headphones in. No, it should still be good though, because it was next to my mouth. But moving on, go into our ML hero class, and we are going to come down here. We're going to create another method after the flip function called fall, and in this we're going to animate our hero. So we know that we already established a physics body for our hero, so we want him to fall off the screen, and we want it to look pretty realistic. So we're going to set the affected by gravity of his physics body to true. Remember at the beginning we set it to false just because we didn't want him to fall through the screen while he was running. So we're gonna turn that to true, and we're also going to use this new method that physics bodies have called apply impulse. And it takes a CG vector, and if you guys haven't taken any kind of initial basic physics class, all a vector is like, say I were to shoot something in the air like this at a diagonal angle, all a vector is going to be the x value and the y value that lead up to this point right here. So it just splits the diagonal lines into two different components. So all you're going to do is you're going to get an x component and a y component. So we're going to say, to create a vector, we're going to say cg vector make, kind of like a point. And I want to launch this about -5 backwards and positive 30 up. So you're going to see it's going to go back by 5, up by 30, and that's how we're going to launch our guy. And so after we launch him, we want to make him kind of fall backwards. So we're going to create an action now called rotate back. And all it's going to do is rotate this guy by, we want to rotate him back so he's kind of facing backwards. So to do this, we are going to use mpi, and all mpi is, it returns the double value of pi to a ton of digits. So we can use that for pi instead of 3.14 to be more accurate. And we have to cast that to a CG float just because that's what this parameter takes. And we're going to do mpi over 2. And if you guys have taken trigonometry, you guys will know that that's going to turn you by the angle that we want. And I'm not going to go over that just because this isn't a trigonometry class or anything like that. So we're going to do a duration of 0.4. If you guys don't understand that, don't worry about it. It's pretty minimal, and I'm sure you will get to it at some time in your math careers there. So now let's run this action on our hero. It's going to be rotate back. And cool, that should be our fall method. So let's go into the game scene file now. We want to go back to where we hit game over. So initially we just got rid of the hero's physics body because we just wanted the hero to stop. So instead of doing that, we're going to call this fall method that we just did. And let's see what we have now. So if we run this, I'm going to tap to start. Boom. So we have like a little animation. He kind of falls backwards, is launched up in the air, and that looks a little better than the game just freezing. So awesome. Now let's get these labels kind of blinking at you, so it kind of looks like an indicator rather than a label that's supposed to keep track of something. So I'm going to go into the game scene file. We're going to do something that's not necessarily the best coding practice, just because like what we're going to do is we're going to create a method that's going to it's going to return the blink function in our game scene file. What you normally might do if you had more than one animation is you would create a new file and have it as your kind of your animation factory class file, and from that you would get all the animations, create all the functions for your animations. And maybe that'd be a little better, a little cleaner, because we just have one animation that we're going to be using. The blink animation on our labels, we're just going to put it in a function down here. And it's honestly, it's not really like a bad coding practice. It's just not necessarily ideal. It's just not necessarily ideal. So we're going to say, this is going to be our animation section of our game scene file. I'm going to create a function called blink animation. It's going to return an SK action. And in here, all we're going to do is we're going to create this animation that we want to do. So I'm going to say create a duration and set that equal to 0.4. Then I'm going to say there's going to be an action of fade out, which is going to be an SK action dot fade alpha to 0.0 during duration of duration, and let fade in equal SK action dot fade alpha to 1.0 duration. And all alpha is, it's the transparency of your thing that you're working with. So then the blink animation, we're going to say it's going to be let blink equal SK action dot sequence. It's going to be the fade out fade in. And last but not least, we want to make this repeat forever. So when we return it, we need to make sure that we do that. So I'm going to say return skaction.repeat action forever blink. And so that should give us a good blink animation. So here for the game over label, all I'm going to do is after I add it, I'm going to say game over label dot run action blink animation. And remember, this blink animation function right here just returns that SK action, so it's going to insert that in right there. And we're going to want to do the same thing up here with the tap to start label. So tap to start label dot run animation, run action, I mean, blink animation. Cool. So if we run this now, you're going to see we have this nice kind of good blink animation that indicates to our user that they need to tap to start. And our guy just kind of flew off there. I wonder if that's because he's under the thing. Oh no, it's because did begin contact is getting called multiple times. Let's fix that really quick just to be consistent. Let's go do our game scene. Did begin contact right here. So I'm going to say if not is game over. Game over. So that's just going to make it so the game over method is only called once, so the hero is only launched back a little bit rather than launched all the way off the screen. Sweet. So we are good there. That's going to be it for this video. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.